Hey, what's up guys, my Overwatch here, and today we are going to talk about DPI and sensitivity. When it comes to this particular subject, a lot of people have an opinion that is very much set in stone, so this is likely going to be one of those videos that really ruffles some people's jimmies. At any rate, I haven't come across a lot of people in the Overwatch community that actually take a reasonable stance in this regard. A lot of what I've read has been fueled by misinformation or simple tunnel vision. Just for the sake of adding to the discussion and tossing my own opinion in the mix as well, we're going to take a look at this subject from more than just one perspective. So without further ado, let's get right into it. When it comes to improving at online games, people are very quickly to look for some sort of meta. The reason being that, naturally, most people are looking for the path of least resistance, the easiest way to get better. Pro strategies that have proven themselves to be successful are exactly that. There are a lot of games where that makes perfect sense, for better or for worse. In a game like Hearthstone, for example, only a minority of people will even bother to attempt creating a deck themselves when there are already other solutions out there that have proven themselves to work. In Overwatch, it is a little more difficult to nail. Metaplay can look very different depending on which rank you play in, and sometimes even varies by region. The level of metaplay involved in Overwatch relates to which heroes are currently perceived as strong for any given division, and by that played a lot. Needless to say that the pro meta, ergo what's being run in tournaments featuring professional players, has its own league. When it comes to DPI and sensitivity, players don't have any point of comparison by simply playing the game unless they were to ask everyone they play with which DPI they are running, which realistically speaking nobody does. Their only definitive answer to which DPI is considered quote-unquote good and has proven itself successful is coming from pro players. What people like to forget is that the vast majority of the player base does not consist of pro players, nor do they have any desire to become one. People are very quick to jump the gun and say that anything above 800 DPI is way too much, it makes your mouse unstable, they'll toss around words like pixel skipping, and talk about how it's scientifically proven that if you're not running a low DPI, you're a trash player. When I make my videos, I always try to target the average player. When I talk about things that people can do to improve, things they should keep in mind, and so on, I try to suggest things that, realistically speaking, are feasible in a reasonable amount of time. It's kinda like when somebody with little knowledge of PC hardware asks, which GPU should I get? And everyone says either Titan XP or GTX 1080. Nobody asks which games this person plans to play, on which resolution, or whether or not they have a high refresh rate monitor. All of these things are very important to consider when suggesting PC hardware. And same goes for a lot of things relating to Overwatch. I've read hundreds of comments under my videos alone of people getting really mad at me for promoting people to try and find a handful of main characters. They say you have to become good at all the heroes or else you're useless. Realistically speaking, most people do not have the time to invest and become good with every single hero in the game. Most people probably got school and homework, or they have a job and need to take care of other adult related things, and that's what I try to keep in mind in my videos. Again, realistically speaking, you have the best chances of climbing into a reasonably high division with a reasonable amount of effort invested when you're really good with a handful of heroes rather than being okay at all of them. Arguments such as there's this streamer and he's good at all the heroes and got Grandmaster already shoot themselves in the foot. As you said, those guys are streamers. They make a living by playing games all day long. For most of us, that is simply not feasible in relation to time investment. Back to DPI and sensitivity. Things people don't keep in mind when spouting things about pixel skipping is that some people maybe don't have that much desk space to wave their arms around running 400 DPI and 2 sensitivity. For others, it might take a long time to get used to the new sensitivity since they only get to play for a few hours a day at best, so this would ruin their gameplay experience for quite some time in hopes of this improving their aim. And then again, others might have just played on a high DPI for as long as they can remember and just feel most comfortable with it. But this wouldn't make a good video if I didn't present suggestions myself. Of course, I can't present the level of credibility a pro player has. I mean, even though I make videos in Overwatch, I don't play this game every single day for hours on end. I'm probably the closest you can get to your average player that simply has quite a tryhard mindset and spends maybe a bit more time than others. When talking about DPI and sensitivity, I always suggest to look at what the core gameplay is like. If the game in question has very low time to kill and is very flick-based, then maybe a high sensitivity will aid you well. Games with a higher time to kill and more tracking required could benefit from a lower DPI. Note how I am only pointing in a general direction rather than giving definitive numbers. That's because lower for some people means 400, for others could mean 900. When I talk about those sorts of things, I always base them off of your standard DPI config that you have already gotten used to. When I started to play, I was running on about 2100 DPI. Over time, I lowered this day by day for about 50 to 100 until I reached the point I'm at now, which is 1500 DPI on 6.3 in-game sensitivity. It will go a long way for you to get used to a lower DPI if you go down gradually in very small intervals that barely seem to make any difference to your current DPI. If you start off with 1500 and you feel that it is too high, go down to 1450 or 1400, play for a day or two, and then go down another notch until you found your comfort spot. What I want to stress in this whole argument is that mimicking pros and going for something like 400 to 800 DPI on 1 to 4 sensitivity is not gonna make you a pro player and might not even improve your aim anywhere near as much as you think it would. If that was the case, then bad aim would no longer be an issue, would it? Think of it like an RPG. At the end of the day, your mouse is only your tool or weapon that fulfills the skill that you have to learn and level up. In this case, that will mean that you have to first acquire the skill of aiming and then increase it before even bothering to go out and buy a new weapon or enhance it, which will be the acquisition of a new mouse with DPI switch and then the act of tuning your DPI. That means work on your reaction time and hand-eye coordination. Next to that, what about working on your game sense, positioning, team synergy, communication and tactics? People worry way too much about raw mechanical skill in the form of aiming before even getting the basics of Overwatch down, which includes all the things mentioned above and more. Suggesting that aim alone makes a good player is nonsense. In fact, you can compensate for a lack of mechanical skill by superior communication and overall knowledge of the game. Again, I'm not saying that lowering your DPI won't improve your aim, because chances are that it will. It's just important for you to find your own comfort spot and find out what lower means in relation to your own habits and base configuration. Look, you don't have to share my personal beliefs, but for me, I don't have any desire to become a pro player. Before I even start to think about shit like pixel skipping, I rather worry about my positioning, awareness and game sense, all of which have improved over time along with my aim, but still have a long way to go. At the end of the day, I might not be a pro player, but my pixel skipping, unstable 1500 DPI, 6.3 sensitivity combo was good enough to get me from rank 61 in Season 1 to Diamonds in Season 2 and now Masters in Season 3. If somebody like me can do it, then I'm sure as hell you can as well. And as you can see, brilliant aim was not even required. But this is me done for the day talking about DPI and sensitivity. Do feel free to drop all of your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Just for the love of God, please stay civil. You can also drop me a like on your way off if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you guys next time.